Okay, we have a little bit of an update from Fairview here. As we all know, I don't even think I need to rehearse what's happening there, but after mediation, the town council there said, yes, we'll accept your shorter temple. The residents, not so much, and mediation kind of disintegrated, and the LDS Church is intending to sue Fairview there. So there was a town council meeting. Nothing was on the agenda officially about the temple, but about 30 people in their Fairview United, that's FU, shirts showed up just to show their support for the town council and saying you do not need to back down on this. We can make sure that the church adheres to our zoning codes, adheres to our laws here, and builds a temple that will be good for them and also good for the city and good for the residents. Let me see here. That's the headline. So it says about 30 Fairview United residents and community members showed up at Tuesday's council meeting in the green shirts, encouraging this council not to back down at the church's threat to sue. Some shirts displayed the town slogan, keeping it country, and read, follow the law of the land, not an inch taller. Other t-shirts read, long live dark blue skies and butterflies, which is a nod to Fairview's laws protecting the town's dark skies. We haven't even begun to delve into dark skies and lighting of this temple. We are still just talking about the height, which is now at 120 feet via the mediation. Although now that's kind of yanked off, and I think we're back to 173 feet. It's really hard to tell. Fairview United fully supports a redesigned temple so long as the roof height does not exceed 42 inches and the steeple height does not exceed 68 inches. And Fairview's code of ordinances are followed. Read a statement presented to Fairview Council members Tuesday. It is Fairview United's sincere hope that this matter will be settled amicably and without further delay. And those dimensions represent the precedent for religious buildings in Fairview, of which the LDS Church still has the largest building in their stake center, which is 68 feet high. So it says currently, yeah, I just basically said that. It is the tallest building. They are not surprised, say the community members, when they heard that the church is intending to sue. I was sad. I was disappointed. I definitely feel that the LDS Church is using their power and full weight of their financial reserves to really intimidate the town. In the public meeting, the town residents expressed a willingness to face the lawsuit from the church if it doesn't accept the zoning precedents. This is what's different about Fairview from any other town. All of the other towns that we follow in recent history, eventually the towns kind of have to say, look, we don't want to be sued. We can't afford a lawsuit, as they said in Vegas. We're just going to have to kind of give in. In this town, the town council has said, sure, we'll put this mediated temple in front of everybody, but it still has to go through the process, still has to go to planning and zoning, still has to go to town council. And the residents have said, you know, this doesn't meet our codes. We're okay, town council, if the town gets involved in this lawsuit. We are here to support you. That is very different from what other towns have said. So a resident, Ben Brown, called the church a gigantic Utah corporation, threatening Fairview. Last fall, the town created its zoning defense fund. The town has a fund and the residents have a fund. That's really interesting to, raise capital to fight this lawsuit. So here's the interesting part. The town leaders react. Fairview Mayor Henry Lesner, emphasized that the town officials unanimously approved the 120-foot result of mediation. They did. They said, this is fine with us. We just have to put it through our own democratic process in our town. Sending it to public for discussion. He can't say whether the council members have changed their minds since the vote, but he hopes that the church will submit its plans, meaning new plans that meet its code. They might be surprised, Lesner said. Again, they might be surprised. The mayor said that he would have voted in favor of the dimensions agreed on in the non-binding mediation if the plans made it through the democratic process of the town's planning and zoning and then to the town council. He's frustrated that the church instead just outlined its plans to sue. It never submitted an official application. It never will know what would have happened in planning and zoning or the town council. Instead, it just said it was going to sue. They've been bullies, Lesner said. It's not us, it's them. The ball is in their court, town officials have said. There's nothing to approve because they didn't submit anything. This is why they're saying the ball is in your court. They have not submitted any official drawing to the town yet. So I don't know what would have happened, said Fairview Mayor Pro Tem John Hubbard, who was running for Lesner's seat in a year. I wish they would have submitted plans and started the process. We did everything we were supposed to do according to the non-binding agreement. And this is true. Mormonish did an episode on this. The town did do everything it was supposed to do. And then the town just kind of taking the temperature of the residents and not feeling maybe it was a slam dunk, decided to not follow through and did not submit anything. Mayor Lesner repeated Tuesday night that he does not see it as an issue against religion, but as a fight in defense of the town's identity. That's very important to make that clear. We are not persecuting, Lesner said. We have welcome arms if you want to build a temple in Fairview, but doggone it, make it where it fits into the neighborhood. I love Texas town council meetings. They're really spicy and they're really exciting. Because of the Texas Religious Freedom Restoration Act, and this is the act that their lawyer initially threatened all the residents with at the very first meeting that they ever had a chance to meet the residents and tell them who the LDS were. They used this act to threaten the town. Fairview will need to show it has a compelling reason why it will enforce zoning laws against the church if the town is sued, according to a professor here at Baylor University. So, this is religion and law, and there's a whole bunch of things tied up in this. For Fairview residents, the compelling reason to stick to their guns is the character of their town, protecting the small town feel, and not allowing taller buildings. This character defines Fairview, Lesner said, a town of nearly 11,000 people around 30 miles north of Dallas. What the church is saying is not, what the church is saying is that's not very compelling. So the church is saying, your look and feel, that does not trump our religious freedom, or as my co-host Landon likes to say, religious privilege. There's a very fine line, but a huge difference. Both sides have some grounds. So nobody really knows how this might shake out. And again, they have not officially sued the town. They have just put forward an intent to sue. Let's see, I think I have one more slide on this. Little update here. Yeah. So it says the temple's original design still would have been the town's largest building. Its redesign of 120 foot would still be the town's largest building. There's nothing that tall in this town, says some of the residents. I can't imagine seeing that every single day. If people are right in the shadow of the temple, what would happen to the value of their house? Well, of course, the church assures everybody that the value will go up. Again, to remind everyone, that's only if you're going to sell. The value may go up, but that means your property taxes go up. And we have heard instances in other towns where elderly people have had to sell because they cannot afford the property taxes. So if you intend to live there forever in the shadow of the temple, you'll just see your taxes rise. Let's see. I think this is our last one.
Well, the rising taxes also direct our vision toward God, just like the temple spire. See?
Yes, anything that rises. You're absolutely right. I hadn't really thought of that, RFM. That's a really good point. So denying a permit for the McKinney, Texas temple imposes a substantial burden on the church's religious exercise by not allowing it to construct a house of worship that meets its needs. This is what the church says. And again, we've proved over and over that you can do everything you need to do inside a temple without a spire, without a steeple. There are many temples that fit that criteria. So it's an interesting argument. The church has stated that McKinney, Texas temple will accommodate a growing congregation in North Texas. Again, that's kind of up for debate. There's a pretty strong religious liberty argument. This is really the exercise of religion here. So that's really what it is. The church also cites, again, Arlupa, a word none of us knew probably 6 months ago, and now everybody knows that word, knows exactly what it means. The Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Person Act. If they do go to court, perceived or real bias against the church and its members will not help the town's argument in defense of its character. The language that characterizes the church as a bully or a Goliath, intimidating David, really hurts Fairview's case, some legal analysts think. So, and we've always said this, the church is so used to being the David in the David and Goliath story that to find themselves being a Goliath and everybody seeing them being a Goliath, I don't think they really know what to do. So a lot of people weighing in. It's getting more and more attention as this suit could become a reality and perhaps go to the highest courts in the land. We don't know. And speaking of higher courts, I will update everybody really quickly on Cody, Wyoming. I mentioned this before. The residents' lawsuit, the Preserve Our Cody neighborhood, is going to the Wyoming Supreme Court on February 11th. So that's tomorrow, and it will be live streamed. I'll put links to that on all of our different platforms if anybody wants to check that out. But basically, the residents are suing their own town, who is being supported by the LDS Church, and saying there was a lot of questionable things that happened behind the scenes in that temple being passed. So it should be pretty interesting, and we'll update you next week, of course, on the newscast as to what happens. But that's at 2:30, whatever Cody, Wyoming time is, on Tuesday tomorrow. I think that's all I have on Fairview. Any thoughts or comments before we move forward?
Bill?
I think it's all been said. I think it's just a matter of sort of waiting it out. I mean, we definitely want to cover updates like this, but in terms of, I think we've all laid out what it all means.
Yep.
We have to wait at this point.
I agree.
Can I go back a couple of slides here?
Sure.
Yeah. See, it's not butterflies, it's fireflies.
Oh.
See the lady's shirt?
Yeah, I was going to say butterflies typically aren't out at night and you can't really see them, but it's fireflies. That makes a lot more sense.
Who's the reporter who got this wrong? Maybe it's a different shirt. I don't know. Maybe they got all kinds of shirts. I don't know why butterflies would be in jeopardy at the temple, but fireflies I can understand. Okay.
Yep.
So having said all of that, which wasn't very much, but I think it's important to get the details straight.
It is.
A statement. See, third paragraph. I think this is the most important thing to me in this article. A statement was presented to the Fairview Council members on Tuesday from Fairview United. Now they're just saying they fully support a temple so long as it's this short, not actually the agreed upon amount, right? The part that was mediated.
Up to 120 feet, right? And they're saying that mediation. Okay, great. You came down a little bit, still way beyond what the codes of our town call for.
Yeah, they don't understand what a CUP is for. However, here's what just occurred to me, okay? Because at the end of your story, I was thinking about what this is going to look like on appeal, because I had already said that it's not going to look so good for the town, that the church is busy jockeying for position. They don't want to submit this modified plan, because if the town then votes against it, that's what they're worried about. If the church trusted the town at this point to do what they've agreed to do, then all of this wouldn't be happening, except that the mayor went shooting his mouth off and giving indications that maybe he wasn't as committed to following through on this plan, the modified plan, as he had said or signed off on. So I think that the church is thinking that they want to appeal on the full deal. All right. So they don't want to submit the smaller temple that they had agreed to. Yep. On the other hand, one of the things that makes this an interesting case is that cuts both ways, because part of the record will be this non-binding mediation agreement. And so the church is in the position now, if they appeal here, and I think this is all just jockeying for position to get everybody's attention and make sure that we all go through this the way it's agreed. I think that's what's going to happen. Okay, I still do. But I think that if the church is going to appeal now, then part of the record is that they agreed to submit the smaller temple, and then they refused to. So the problem is, if the church agreed to a smaller temple, how can they say that they have to have the big temple, otherwise their religious rights are being infringed?
That is a brilliant argument. I had not thought of that. Yeah, you're exactly right.
I'd sure be arguing that from the city side. Yeah. If I were
But let me just say one thing, because I have noticed in the comments, people are misunderstanding the town council. And I think maybe you guys do a little bit too. They said, yes, we will vote yes for an 120-foot temple. We will completely vote yes. Then after that, some of the town people were pretty vocal. Fairview United was pretty vocal. And the town council said to the church, I can't speak for my residents and how that will go. I can't speak for the democratic process. I can't speak for the planning commission. We will vote for it, but I can't tell you what the process of putting it through, what has to happen in our town. I can't tell you how that will end. So in my opinion, kind of, when we did do a podcast on that, they were trying to help the church by saying, look, I don't know, we would vote for it, but I don't know what the citizens think. I don't know what the democratic process is going to yield.
Well, the democratic process from the church's point of view is supposed to yield what we agreed to.
Exactly. And the town council was saying to the church, we can't deliver the vote, right? In a
Yes, they
theocracy, you
can.
can.
These
They
people
can,
are not voting. The
Yeah.
citizens are not voting.
The planning and
Members of the
zoning
city
is, though.
council are voting.
The planning and zoning is,
And the
and
planning
if
and
it
zoning
does,
commission, I understand, do what the city tells them to do, right? They control their votes.
no, and if it recommends no on the shorter temple, then it takes a super majority of the town council when it goes to town council. And so they can't necessarily promise they'll deliver it. So I don't know.
Well, anyway, we'll have to see
We'll
what
see.
happens here.
Yeah.
I still think this is going to have a wonderful ending. Everybody's going to be holding hands around the temple. You know, like is it at the end of The Grinch That Stole Christmas, and they're all singing that song, that words I can never understand.
Yeah, and they're all, wonderful.
I knew you would know that. Thank you.